Welcome to the BoshNRoll channel. If you want to support my daily Eternal Magic offerings while getting amazing perks like the BoshNRoll Discord community, have me play your deck on the channel, or listen sideboard guides before tournaments, check out the Patreon or YouTube membership program. This channel is possible because of these amazing sponsors. Check them out, all their links are in the video description. As always, thanks for being here. Let's go play some Magic.
Welcome back to the BoshNRoll channel. Today I'm playing Modern at the request of Patreon subscriber SuperGub, and I am playing the updated version of their Isochron Scepter Jeskai control deck. This is a deck I played several months ago on the channel, maybe about half a year ago at this point, and I was honestly super impressed by Isochron Scepter. There was one game I remember fondly where I put Lightning Helix on an Isochron Scepter and soloed Scam with it. I think I was hellbent, never had another non-land permanent in play, but just Helix killed every single thing they played and they could never race me through it, and eventually it started going face when they ran out of creatures. It was incredible. The bit here for this deck, of course, being Isochron Scepter, a exciting artifact. I remember being a kid when Mirrodin came out. This was in my first pack of Mirrodin, and I was like, holy smokes, what can I put on this? 2-mana artifact, Imprint. When it enters the battlefield, you may exile an instant card with mana value 2 or less from your hand to tap. You may copy the exiled card and cast that copy without paying its mana cost. Basically, for a 2-mana investment up front, you get to cast that instant for as long as you have Isochron Scepter. One of the critical innovations that I helped come up with for the last time I played this deck is that Isochron Scepter should not be thought of as a combo piece. Like, the original build of this deck had some silences in it. It had some real cute kind of stuff where it's like, if I put this under Isochron Scepter, it might win the game. But it also might not win the game, and it sucks if I don't have Isochron Scepter, which was a problem. And we basically rebuilt the deck together to turn Isochron Scepter into kind of a planeswalker. If you think about this as, instead of playing Jace the Mind Sculptor as a second hero of Dominaria, we have Isochron Scepter, and instead of plussing our Planeswalker every turn, we activate Isochron Scepter. It's just kind of a value engine that casts a powerful spell now and then, and it also has the upside of maybe you put Counterspell under there, and now your opponent has to cast 2 spells in a turn to ever do anything, and it's just kind of a responsible little value package in what's otherwise a pretty normal Jeskai control deck. And if we treat a card as aspirational as Isochron Scepter, with just mundane utility rather than imagining the ceiling and the stratosphere we could get into if we put the cutest card you could think of in the deck, then we have a much more level deck to play with. We also have a new card to play with. This is Deduce from Murders at Karlov Manor. 1 and a blue instant, draw a card, investigate. This is kind of as close to draw 2 as we can get under an Isochron Scepter. I don't know if this card is good. I don't know if it's better than Azorius Charm, which has a bunch of different modes, including draw a card. Azorius Charm can help you survive in combat against more aggressive decks, and then it could draw a card if nothing else is going on. Deduce only draws cards, but it does draw 2 of them once we get into the late game and have extra mana laying around. It's a new card. I'm excited to try it. And like I said, other than Scepter, this deck is just trying to stay alive. We got Path to Exile, Surge of Salvation, Lightning Bolt, Lightning Helix, Get Lost, Solitude. There's a lot of removal in this deck. There's a lot of counterspells in this deck. We are just trying to drag the game out to the point where Isochron Scepter gets to start casting some unbeatable spell every turn. I loved this deck last time. I hope I love it again this time. Let's get into it. This is SuperGub's Isochron Scepter Jeskai. Come meet me at MagicCon Chicago. In addition to my official creator booth with Raymond Yu on Friday morning, I'll have a second meet and greet opportunity Saturday morning at the 3-for-1 trading booth from 10 to 11 a.m., right before the Legacy for Original Art tournament starts. Big thanks to 3-for-1 for continuing to provide opportunities like this. Do some shopping at their booth in Chicago, or check out shop.3for1trading.com. I'm on the draw in round 1. I'm going to keep my hand. It's full of answers to stuff and the ability to see more cards. I'm in. This is the deck. A breeding pool, shocked it in. This feels like Living End to me, would be my guess. Okay, Steam Vents tapped. I'll drop that in. I was going to fetch for a Steam Vents anyway, and there it is. Cycling Street Wraith in the end step. Still feels like a Living End to me. Troll of Khazad-dûm. And they search for a Blood Crypt. I guess this could be some sort of like 4-color Delirium deck, but I don't think that's likely when Living End is just here in the format for us. 4-color Shadow, Zapped and Blood Crypt, they are at 12. And I'd rather they be 4-color Shadow than Living End, Jesus. Oh, that was a good draw. I'm going to play this Island and pass. I can force pitching Deduce, and I can pitch Solitude, so I get something back out of a Living End. Waker of Waves just dumped a Curator of Mysteries. Ooh, they're missing a turn. This is cool. This gives me a chance to deduce and move my game plan forward a little. And they just binned a Violent Outburst. I mean, that's terrifying, because that's the one that lets them go off on my turn. Deducing. I hope I draw a blue card here. I did not draw a blue card. I could still hardcast Force, but there's a blue card as well. A passing it. Did not draw the Teferi I was looking for. Curator of Mysteries in the Graveyard. Solitude's not going to be good enough here. I do actually have to beat the Living End. Grief, stop. Well, I'm probably dead. I think I should Solitude this Grief right now. They should not be worried about this because there's no way. All right, yeah, that. I don't believe I have a Supreme Verdict in my deck, which is the only card I would continue playing for. All right, I'm going to just concede here. We saw them bin a Violent Outburst. They have the ability to send it here. I'm just going to go to sideboards without giving them the chance to see my hand and know what's going on. Veto, Chalice, Verdict's in the sideboard. Rest in peace. Surge of Salvation can stop Grief from hitting me. Cast into the Fire, Lightning Bolt. Path to Exile's pretty mid. Is it worse than Get Lost? They're not going to have enchantments or planeswalkers. If I cut my white removal down to just Solitudes, Teferi's great. Lightning Helix is mid. Okay. Protection spells and hate pieces is the name of the game here. Clearly a heavy sideboard plan because we know this matchup is tough. I'm going to keep this hand. It can protect me from getting griefed. And I'm going to hold up white just in case they want to grief me on turn 1 rather than preordaining right away. They are Misty Rainforest and passing. In that case, I'll fetch a Steam Vents. There's no Rockrun Triome in the deck, which I think is fine. Preordain. Force Negation, Supreme Verdict. If I have Force and can protect it, then I don't need Supreme Verdict, but I kind of like the top here. Just cover both bases, force them to fight over the Verdict, or force them to fight over the Living End, and then Verdict them on the other side. That's cool. New tech for the deck from Murder Zakharlov Manor. I've got Deduce in my hand. They've got this Underground Mortuary. It is a Swamp Forest, which means it's fetchable, enters battlefield tapped, and ETB Surveil 1. Seems custom made for this deck. They don't have any creatures in the graveyard currently, and they do need to do that to do the thing that their deck does. There goes a Curator. And I'm going to Deduce in the end step, leaving up the plains. I'd love to find a Chalice or a Teferi or some sort of real lock piece here. Deduce. Found a Counterspell. Since we are in my end step where they can't grief me, I'm going to cycle Lorien Revealed here. Get a Hallowed Fountain. And shock in Hallowed Fountain and pass the turn. Putting the walls up. They didn't cycle anything in the end step. This is getting weird. They might just start casting creatures. Just put Grief into play. Yep. Okay, I can Surge this and then deal with it as a creature. I could also just Counterspell it. I'm going to Counterspell it, actually. That gives me a wide open opportunity to crack this Clue. Cash out the Deduce as 2 mana draw 2. Or 1 spell draw 2. Preordain. 2 Arid Mesas. I'm going to bottom both of those. Into another Scalding Tarn. And I'm going to Preordain again off this basic island. Into more lands. Alright. We're good on lands deck. Chill. Right, there's Teferi. That can win a game. Someday. Steam Vents tapped. Okay. Dovin's Veto. Oh, baby. Okay. Well, now I kind of wish I had held on to this Teferi, or this, or they can hardcast Subtlety here. Yeah, I'm not going to play Teferi into that. I wish I had held on to at least one of those lands now, because my next land lets me cast Teferi with Veto up. This is going to resolve. I'll find a way to deal with that. Then I can Memory Deluge in the end step if they don't do anything. They just shocked in land number 6. Now they might just start casting Troll of Khazad-dûms. Generous Ent. I'll respond with Memory Deluge. Lightning Helix to Fairy Time Raveler. That stabilizes the board. I'll take those two. Put the Chalice in the graveyard. And step Generous Ent, and then fetch for Hallowed Fountain. Helix the Subtlety. Ooh, Rest in Peace is gross. To Fairy. Bounce your Generous Ent. Plains, Rest in Peace. This deletes my Memory Deluge on the back end, but I think it's worth doing to just shut off that whole half of their deck. And now I just have to beat some overcosted draft creatures. I did board out most of my removal, but I'm holding Supreme Verdict and Teferi Hero. Generous Ent's back. Plus little Teferi, cast big Teferi. I can tuck this Generous Ent and start untapping next turn. Or I could plus big Teferi Supreme Verdict. I don't really want a 1-for-1 if I can avoid it. I'm going to tuck the Generous Ent. Troll of Khazad-dûm. Okay. Another one of those. Plus little Teferi, plus big Teferi. Get to play Steam Vents. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I'm not going to pay the 2. Yeah, I can do everything I need to do next turn with just what I have. Untap this with Teferi. Solitude, time for you to take over, buddy. They're attacking little Teferi. Solitude's in. Troll's out of here. I wonder how many instants are in their hand, like subtleties and force negations and stuff, that they're worried about little Teferi more than big one. Okay. Besageing Rest in Peace is fine. Deal. That also explains why they attacked big Teferi. Or little Teferi. They're actually trying to get Living End back on. Corpse Appraiser. That's cool. Exile up to 1 target creature from a graveyard. If that card is put into exile this way, look at the top 2 cards of your library, put 1 in your hand and the rest in your graveyard. Alright. The standard technology has arrived. I've never seen this card in Living End, but it seems good. I can just block Appraiser with Solitude next turn, and Surge of Salvation saves it. Prevent all damage black or red sources would deal to creatures you control. Another Surge of Salvation. I'm so ready. Salvation is here. Second Supreme Verdict. Just rocking out right now. And next turn I can bounce Solitude and replay it in the future. Cycling Architects in the end step. We know they've got a Generous in hand. Channeling a Waker of the Waves. Got a Curator of Mysteries into the bin. Grief, I'm going to Surge this, which hopefully they don't realize. Okay, yeah. Alright, they just scooped. We did it, we got control. Okay, 3 Solitudes, 2 Helix, 4 Teferi, 2 Verdict. I think that is enough to control the creature half of the game like we saw. I was a little worried when they pivoted into that. Oh, I have Azorius Charm too. I actually have a lot going on for that half of the deck. Yeah, I'm just going to submit. I think just turtling up against the combo is right, and then trying to beat creatures with what's left over. I am going to keep this hand. It's got Counterspell and Surge in it. No dedicated hate pieces yet. Let's see if they get more aggressive with Grief and just send one on turn 1, now that they know I'm playing Surge of Salvation. They did mull to 6. And I am going to lead on a fetch land rather than this Restless Anchorage. Big upgrade from Celestial Colonnade, by the way. Just activates for much cheaper, generates card advantage. Cycling a Curator of Mysteries in my end step. Cycling a Troll in their main phase. Underground Mortuary, doing the Surveil. That tech rules. I'm happy for them. I'm going to fetch a tapped Hallowed Fountain in the end step here. I'm not going to cycle Lorien Revealed because I do play Force of Negation, and that's a blue card in a spot where I might need one of those. And I'm going to play an untapped mana here in case they just send it on a Living End. I do want to try to counterspell. Okay, they are passing, which means I'm also passing. If I fetch, I might just die. Shock in Steam Vents. This lets me Surge of Salvation and Counterspell in the same turn cycle. Channeling Master of Waves. And Architects of Will. We've got a Grief on the stack. Might be go time here. I'm going to Surge that. The Grief pitched a Living End. They could Force of Negation hardcast the Surge. They didn't do that. If they send it this turn, they won't be able to protect. And I'm just going to untap here. Keep my options up. Okay, they're sending it now, where they can protect, unfortunately. Let's hope that's not Force Blue card in their hand. Or I might be in some trouble. Counterspell. Ouch. Alright, well, we're super heckin' dead. I can't even pitch a card to Solitude right now. This is 7, 13, 16. Yeah, this is lethal on its own. Grief gets to take a card. Architects is targeting themselves. Yeah, I can fetch and change the cards anyway. Makes sense. I don't think I have any draws here. Certainly not that one. All right, yeah. They managed to get through my defenses before I had them set up. No Teferi, no Chalice. And that's fine. They had double protection on a combo turn on turn 4. Their deck functioned extremely well and did what it was supposed to do. I don't know. I mean, sometimes you just get beat. On to the next round.
This video is sponsored by Moxfield.com, the easiest way to build Magic decks online. Moxfield supports over 30 formats, including Legacy and everything else you'll see on this channel. There's multiple customizations so you can interact with your deck how you want. Views such as text, grid, or stacks. And groupings like type, subtype, color, color identity, even artist. The site offers light mode, dark mode, and so much more. However you want to see your deck, Moxfield can provide it for you. Follow my Moxfield to keep up with the channel and what I'm playing in paper. I'll see you there.
I'm on the play for round 2. I'm going to keep this hand. It's nice and stable. Blooded Strand, go. Bloodstained Mire. Okay, please Thoughtseize me into this. Main deck Surge of Salvation. Stomping Ground doesn't do that. Does suspend Search for Tomorrow. Okay. Surge of Salvation also stops Valakut. Just saying. Hallowed Fountain tapped. Okay, I was going to shock in Steve Vance. I think I still will, actually. Because that gives me Lightning Helix if I want that, and I'm likely to just deduce this turn. I'm also telegraphing Counterspell, which is fun because I don't actually have that. Deduce in the end step, finds Memory Deluge. Now I do have Counterspell. Neat. Hallowed Fountain tapped because I don't have... I guess I do have 3 mana worth of stuff if I'm going to Surge, but I just don't think that's going to come up this turn. I'm not going to counter Search for Tomorrow. I'll save that for a real one. Look at them. They also have the Surveil lands. These are showing up in Modern big. This is cool. I'm going to have to get a set of these. They have clearly met the criteria for non-rotating constructed playability. Played 2 matches with them legal, and we've seen them twice. If you're ordering these, by the way, I have a TCG player link in my video descriptions and Linktree that helps me out while you shop. Okay, we are Creativity. Lightning Helix currently beats a Creativity for 1. And save Counterspell for later. Okay, just hard casting a Search for Tomorrow. That's legal. And I'm just going to bust my clue if they don't do anything else here. Drawing a card. It's an Arid Mesa. I drew Basic Island, which is what I was going to fetch for. I'm going to play the fetch anyway. I have Helix plus Counterspell, or Surge plus whatever. I'm going to give this dwarf a little taste. I'm not going to just remove it right away. They got 4 cards in their hand. I'm chilling. I'm going to get another tapped Hallowed Fountain. And I could actually Helix this thing right now. Or I could wait and hit it with Solitude next turn. I am going to Helix it now. Let's just get it out. Save Solitude for an Archon of Cruelty. A Deduce. There's one more fetchable dual land in my deck. I'm going to use the Arid Mesa on that rather than play out basics. Fetching another Dwarf in the end step. This appears to just be red-green. And it would not surprise me to learn that they have like a Valakut pivot. I don't know exactly what this deck is doing, but clearly has some creativity stuff. There's a Valakut. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and they have 6 mountains already. Good stuff. I think I'm actually going to fetch Basic Plains and play Solitude here. I don't know what this deck would do at instant speed that I'm worried about, and Solitude, applying pressure and gaining life are both useful to me. Though the inevitable land drop mode of Valakut is actually super terrifying for a control deck like this one. This fetch land is a Lightning Bolt. I have Surge of Salvation. Yeah, I'm going to Surge and keep my Solitude around. I can counterspell something like a Primeval Titan or Scapeshift, but the Surge does protect this onboard stuff. And Valakut is optional to deal the 3, so there wasn't a spot for me to fetch. Like if I Surge of Salvation in response to their fetch, and then they have to get a mountain, and then they have to take 3, that's not how that works. End step, Deduce plus Investigate to Fairy. Okay. Iso Scepter, what's up? with a counterspell ready to go. Good chance this deck has Boseiju in it, but we're not going to talk about that. They're lightning bolting that. That's fine. Isochron Scepter, Imprint Counterspell, and I guess I can Teferi here too. I'd rather Deluge, I think. I'm going to be so bummed if they just have Boseiju plus Primetime. Okay, we got away with it. That's one of the reasons Surge of Salvation is in the deck. That just protects your Scepter and protects you against all the things that are just main deckable in the format. Wish. You may play a card you own from outside the game this turn. That's fine. They might just play another Valakut, but I'm not going to counter this. Haywire might. And that did not come from their hand. All right. I'm going to counterspell this and then die to Escape Shift, I guess. Damn. All right. Yeah, they got me. Well, I guess always make them show it to you. I imagine they have plenty of mountains in their deck to make this work. Maybe I wasn't supposed to Surge to protect Solitude 2 turns ago. I don't know, that felt good at the time, and now I'm just dying to this thing that I think I could have gotten a blowout with. Yeah, that's plenty of damage. Okay, what do I do against this deck? Surge of Salvation is one of the better cards I can have. Dovin's Veto. I think Lightning Bolt should come out, and I don't really want to ramp them with Path to Exile. Or Cast in the Fire. I mean, this is mainly in the deck for Orcish Bowmaster, a card that I don't think they're playing. I think it's safe to say. They might have the One Ring, though. Interesting. Okay. I am going to do it like this. I'm going to mulligan this hand that doesn't do anything. I will keep this hand that does stuff. And I'm going to bottom Path to Exile, actually. Just so not interested in casting that card against a Valakut opponent. And our deck does have enough basics to play Blood Moon if we wanted to, or Field of Ruin. I don't know if that's necessary in the metagame, but I'm just saying we got access to it if we want it. I think I'm going to try to deduce this turn and spike Teferi, little Teferi plus land. This big Teferi, if this was little Teferi and we would get to eat this Search for Tomorrow for free, that would be so sick. Sakura Tribelder. What a boss. Classic hero from a bygone age. Flooded Strand. All right, time to draw Teferi. Zori's Charm. All right. That's almost Teferi. Except it's nothing like Teferi. They did not sack their Tribelder. Search for Tomorrow happens. Tribelder getting in for damage. Big beats. Dryad of the Elysian Grove. That, unfortunately, is going to resolve. Dwarven Mine. And Scalding Tarn. And Farseek. Yep. Also resolves. None of these are Valakuts yet, so I don't have to fight over that. I'd rather draw cards. Classic BoshNRoll. There's the little Teferi, right on time. Wise guy. I'm going to get a basic Plains and cycle for Steam Vents. Steam Vents, and I don't think I'm going to get Lost the Dryad yet. They're down to 2 cards in hand. They don't have a Valakut. I think I might still be able to find a good spot for that. Okay, I'll get it Lost in combat now. They've committed to an attack. Let's oh, that just destroys it. I thought that was exile. Well, it's dead. That doesn't really matter. That's just not what I thought the card did. Destroy target creature. And now they're mapping. And they revealed the One Ring. Look at me with my spidey sense. Another Dryad. Hate that. Another fetch land. And they're exploring again, putting another counter on their token. Drawing a land this turn would be huge. We did it. Okay, fetch for island, play little Teferi. This gets to clear this 3/3 token forever, and I can still counter the One Ring. I lose Teferi, but he's done his job. He's going to absorb a bunch of damage. Oh, they fetched away the One Ring after all that. No longer interested. I guess they see my Counterspell mana up. Makes sense. They binned a Lightning Bolt off their Surveil trigger. I am not going to Azorius Charm to save Teferi. They only attacked him with the Sakura Tribelder, but knowing that they have Scapeshift in their deck and Dovin's Veto in my hand, I can't just tap out. Another Dryad. Oh, they had a One Ring. That's why they weren't worried about it. Okay, they're now Hellbent. Big Teferi. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Plus Isochron Scepter. Little late, but hopefully it'll find a home. I can exactly protect Teferi in combat. If they drew Scapeshift this turn, whatever. Put target attacking or blocking creature on top of its owner's library. This Dryad. Teferi is not dead. Is dead to a Valakut, is dead to a Bolt. Fingers crossed. Ooh, no play. Good news, everybody. Plus big Teferi. Come on, deck. Chill. Play little Teferi. Bounce Dryad. Oh my god. Sometimes life is pain. Untap 2 lands, like I have stuff going on. And they fetched away this Dryad that was on top of the deck. Determined that's not important here. Got a Dwarf. We still haven't seen a Creativity, but I guess they can't really play that if they have Sakura Tri-Builder in their deck. Maybe these are just tech mountains for their deck that needs lots of mountains in it. They are clearing little Teferi and putting a damage on big Teferi. We know they have a Dryad. Oh, they also have some 7-mana spell. Cool, we're dead. Yeah, 4 cards a Dan, Counterspell, Search of Salvation, anything at all. Not interested. We'll just die instead, that's fine. Okay, like in all seriousness, we ran a little bad on that last turn. Like, multiple Planeswalkers, stable board, drew 3 cards in a turn, had 6 mana up going into theirs, and the Isochron Scepter, if we were in a Scepter deck, I gotta play fair here. If we were not a Scepter deck, this would have been a spell. But if any of these 4 lands were spells, the Scepter would have been insane. So it gives and takes. I feel like this matchup is just abysmal, though. As much as Isochron Scepter represents a powerful endgame versus kind of fair decks, nothing is more fair than just hitting your land drops and eventually killing your opponent. On to the next one.
If you're looking to run a CEDH or 1v1 tournament, Eminence Gaming has your back with Command Tower. With Command Tower's intuitive tournament manager dashboard, you can handle decklist submission and player management with just a few clicks. Players just need to scan the event's QR code for access to the full tournament bracket, including seamless pairings and real-time standing updates. Take the guesswork out of tournament organizing. Try Command Tower for your next event.
I'm on the play for round 3. My hand's not exactly blazing, but I am going to keep it. Teferi lines up well against a lot of the format. And I'm on the play where he might not be too slow. I'm going to get a fetch land out of the way. Raven Cairns as land number 1. That land does not make colored mana on its own. That's interesting. I don't even know what deck would play Graven Cairns, much less lead on it like this. And they didn't cycle a Troll of Khazad-dûm with it or anything. Is this just a card that Scam is playing these days? That seems interesting, because Scam is a deck that is willing to keep one-lander sometimes. Dashing Ragavan. Okay. I could just Solitude this, but then I have nothing. I don't have that many good hits in my deck. Like, Preordain is the best thing they could take. And they exile Flooded Strand. My opponent doesn't know that my deck is 57 lands. Alright, looks like we are against some sort of scammy little thing here. I could play Teferi and just plus. I could hold up to Deuce. Try to move my game plan forward. I think I'd rather do that. Here comes Rag again. I'm going to deduce here. I just have to decide if I'm going to leave up white or red. Because I only play 2 red sources and the other one's in my hand. I can't just leave my fetch land up. I'm trying to 3 paths or 3 bolts. It's actually just a coin flip. I'd rather bolt it than path it, so I'm going to leave up red. Just on vibes. Deduce, drew, Flooded Strand. Of course it did. Okay. Now Ragavan's going to flip bolt. At 2 mana, there are actually a lot of cool cards they could take. Oh, Teferi, please don't have a fucking land right now. Oh, sweet relief. They could not play that Teferi. Alright, deck. It's not funny anymore. You're just being a jerk. Sack my clue. Deck's full of removal. There we go. Sweet, jeez. Alright. Have to shock in my Steam vents to play this, but I've got it. The Ragavan's under control. So my opponent has not played any card other than Ragavan for this whole game. Mount Doom. Alright. Deals 1 damage to each opponent. That might actually kill me. Here comes Rag. Bolt the Rag. We did it. Okay, Rag is dead. Have I mentioned how glad I am they didn't have this land last turn to cast Teferi with? Sheesh. Reckless Anchorage. I think I want to play Teferi minus on nothing. And I'm going to do it before making my land drop. Oh wait, this was the turn I could have played Solitude. What am I doing? I should have played Solitude. I just saw this Restless Anchorage and my brain broke. Orcish Bowmaster. Alright, this card's annoying. I will bounce Orcish Bowmaster. And I drew Counterspell. Alright, at least that's something that can interact. Not as well as Solitude. Counterspell this. Just get it out. This might be bait. Now they dash a Ragavan under it, but still, get it out. My deck is built on drawing cards. Oh, they had another one. Cool. Alright, I'm going to 8 here, losing to Fairy. I can play Solitude next turn. And hopefully it will be meaningful in combat. Lightning Bolt, that's huge. Okay, cool. Now I can do 2 things this turn. I am going to be at 7 life at the end of all of it. Attacking with both creatures. I'm going to plow the Orc army and try to block Bowmaster. Solitude's on the stack. They still have 6 cards in their hand, though. Just like a Lightning Bolt breaks up everything I'm trying to do here. Still going to be a 2-for-1, though. Can I block, please? Well, I've successfully gotten to blocks. That's a start. They might try to scam it. They might play another Bowmaster. All right, another Bowmaster. At least I gained the 3 here. Okay, I'll take that. End of turn, I'm going to bolt this other Bowmaster and hope they don't scam it. They didn't scam it. Cool. Some card. Oh, yeah. That's a card. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Send it with 3 Bowmasters in the graveyard, unlocking my Lorien Revealed. Big game here. 2 paths and a Preordain. Well, I'll Preordain while we're here. Bottom this Plains that I'm about to fetch for and put Preordain in my hand. I don't really want to path an Orc army, and I might still not, but there's 6 cards in hand, and they have been playing on pretty low land count basically this whole game. Dothy Voidwalker. I'll fetch in response just to not put that in the void in case they want it. I am likely to path this creature, which is likely to unlock Griefs from their hand on the hard cast, which is likely to make my life hard. End step, path the Voidwalker. Can we get Scepter plus Helix in hand? Through another land. Preordain. Find some action, please. Deduce and Get Lost. I don't hate these cards. Top. Deduce now before they can Bowmaster it. Restless Anchorage is a creature someday. Still 6 cards in hand, and suddenly at 4 mana. They might start raining Griefs on me. Dashing Rag, that's cool. I'm gonna path Ragavan. Get that out of here. Continue ramping them. At this point, the dam's broken. If they play Troll of Khazad-dûms, I guess they could start casting those sometime. Another Voidwalker. Okay. I'll take this opportunity to crack my clue. Might still draw a bolt in the end step here. Another Get Lost. Get Lost is flexible in what it removes. I am worried about, giving this creature deck more card advantage. And my deck is just determined to make me die here with all these lands. I think I would like a map token of my own and try to move ahead here. I just tap way more white than I was supposed to. Maps activate only as sorcery speed, so I can't buff this in combat. I can target it with the map. Second main, though, I do have a creature. How about a Lightning Helix? Cast Into the Fire. If I put that in the graveyard, it ends up in the void. I don't want to draw it, though. And Hallowed Fountain tapped as my land for turn. I'm going to try to wait on this Get Lost until combat so they can't map during and make Orc Army bigger. Oh, they just shocked in Blood Crypt. That's scary. What does this Mount Doom actually do? 7 mana, sacrifice Mount Doom and a legendary artifact, choose up to 2 target creatures, destroy the rest. Alright, that's not going to happen. But they can still start dealing one to me. Waste Not. Come on, chill. Uh-oh, I hate this. And Childred. Gross. Alright, well, I'm gonna Get Lost the Voidwalker in combat, then I'm gonna Get Lost the Childred in my upkeep, and they'll untap with 4 maps available. And I can Get Lost Waste Not, I just have to imagine, or have to believe that that card is not the one that's going to kill me when Childred is on the board. Get Lost Childred before I take any damage from you. Hey deck, how about that Lightning Helix? Azorius Charm. Alright, well, can't complain. 1, 2, 3, activate Anchorage. Gotta push what I can push here. And what I can push is this flying creature and map token. Then map onto Anchorage. Surge of Salvation on top of my deck. I'm going to put that in my graveyard. It's just not useful right now. So what I need to happen here is they dump their maps onto Orc Army, and then I charm the Orc Army away, and they don't have a Thoughtseize in between. Oh no. Sheoldred, cool. I lose to that too, don't worry. Blood Crypt tapped. Yeah, they could have done some mapping first and figure out what they want to do with that. All right, there's a Kolaghan's Command. That deals damage to me and rebuy Sheoldred. They probably want that. Oh, nope, change their mind. They don't want it. Mapping onto Orc again. They have 10 life left. Fable the Mirror Breaker, another busted card. They do want that one. Little do they know, the top card of their deck's going to be Orc Army token. Okay, put this on top. It goes away. No longer exists. I'm going to fetch in the end step and hope I draw an answer to Sheoldred. Go to 5. I'm going to be at 3. Come on, deck. Hook it up. All right, kind of temporarily an answer to Sheoldred. Teferi Time Raveler. Bounce Sheoldred. Solitude. Okay, now we're cooking. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 mana. I can play my land, but I cannot afford to activate Anchorage. I can't go to 1 because my opponent has Mount Doom in play. Sheoldred's back. Fable's with it. End step. Solitude, the Sheoldred. This is where we mount our heroic comeback. Do I fetch to 2? I think I do. That makes Goblin Shaman lethal, but I have a lifelink creature in play. Lorien, reveal something for me. Reveal me a Lightning Helix. How about that? Teferi. Okay. Teferi answers the Goblin Shaman cleanly. Keep the new one. Bounce the Goblin. Hold up Counterspell. Start gaining life. Let's go. It's happening. Isochron Scepter's here. Okay, opponent's at 10. I'm not playing my land. I'm out of fetchables. And we've seen Kolaghan's Command in their deck. They kept all of their cards. Horrifying. Molten Collapse destroying Solitude. Is this my fight? I think it is. The Solitude plus Restless Anchorage actually wins the game really quickly, and gaining life here is how I don't get cheesed out. Beseech the Mirror. Oh, this doesn't work with Teferi. That's fine. They can tutor, but they can't cast it. That's terrifying, though. Yeah, Beseech the Mirror casts the spell as part of the resolution, and that's not a time where you can cast sorceries. Teferi ruins everything you think is fun. Just never forget. They have a card in their hand that they may have intended to cast. Oh, Burning Inquiry, no! This could get so weird with Waste Not. Well, my hand ended up being the nuts on the other side. Scepter plus Helix, this is what I've been waiting for the whole game. And they got one of each. They got a zombie, a card draw, and 2 mana, and mostly whiffed here. All right, count that. Wheel of Fate. Awesome. Okay, opponents got the spice. They tricked me with that Ragavan Dothy Voidwalker early game. They were actually just a spice goblin the whole time. But I have assembled the combo. Helix plus Scepter versus Rakdos. Plus Teferi. Scepter. We're both spice in here. This is what happens in the O2 bracket. I would like to cast a copy of Lightning Helix, please. Kill this zombie token. And I think I want to push damage more than I want to hold up Memory Deluge. Opponent's Hellbent. They're about to flip Fable the Mirror Breaker. They're dead to my Lightning Helix next turn. Teferi, Hero of Dominaria. Do not put that on the bottom. And I hope my opponent doesn't dash a Ragavan and take my Teferi. I think they're dead anyway. Like, even if they did do that. Okay, cool. That was an insane game. All right, we got a little Rakdos discard cards. Got kind of a weird one. Surge of Salvation looks good. Supreme Verdict looks good. And the get loss were kind of important. I did need every piece of removal that I have, but also I didn't like casting those. And I'm bringing in other removal. As dope as Scepter is, I think I only want 2 of them because it is a bad draw on its own. And if we're playing against a discard deck, it's going to be harder to string multiple things together. I don't think I need Force of Negation here, which leaves room for a Dovin's Veto. If I see Beseech the Mirror, Wheel of Fate, Waste Not, Dovin's Veto gets a lot more interesting. The Get Lost does kill Waste Not, though. Do I have to respect Waste Not? I don't want to. I'm not gonna. Submit the deck. Leave Cast in the Fire in. We saw Bowmasters, lots of them. On the draw, a hand that's really bad against Ragavan, but it's good against other stuff. I'm going to keep it. Swamp, that doesn't cast Ragavan. Thoughtseize, you got me. Do they want Teferi or Isochron Scepter? What are we more scared of here? Ooh, Preordain. Well, that's cool. I was agonizing over whether I'm going to play Restless Anchorage tapped or cast Preordain on turn 1, and that just made it easy. I'm not going to hold up Bolt. If they start dashing Rag, I can take 1 hit and then deal with it next turn. Waste Not resolves. Lightning Helix, Isochron Scepter, we got the combo. I kind of think I need to leave up Dovin's Veto this turn, though. I can't afford to get Burning Ink worried. And we did see Kolaghan's Command in their main deck, which means Isochron Scepter is not even totally safe. I saw this Veto with Thoughtseize and didn't take it. I will counter this Burning Inquiry, because it is horrifying. Veto. They might just go land, have another one here. Or maybe they just didn't set it up at all. That's fine with me. Teferi, get in there and bounce the Waste Not. Let's at least slow this thing down, make them replay it before it's a value engine. We're in there. And next turn I could play Scepter, put Helix under it, and chill. Magus of the Moon. You know what dies to my whole hand? Magus of the Moon. Get to sneak the Steam Vents in on the cheap Sea Freezies because of Magus. Scepter. Scepter's also low-key mana fixing, because it's just a colorless way to make your cards work. And I am just going to zap the Magus now. The only thing that's going to happen here is they go into combat, attack Teferi, and I go after it anyway. If I wait, they might be able... I guess they can't scam it with Teferi in play. I don't know, I just don't see any upside in waiting. And they have come up with a Ragavan. Do they want to clear Teferi or start connecting? They are connecting. And they flipped a Solitude that they have no chance in the universe of casting. The Treasure can replay Waste Not, though, and make things more tricky, but I have assembled the combo. Collapsing my Planeswalker, that's fine. Whatever. They're in the lock now. I love that I'm living in a universe where I call this the lock, and I'm not even totally kidding. Memory Deluge, Path to Exile. Bottom of the path, I have infinite removal at this point. Memory Deluge is dope, though. I was supposed to fetch before preordaining there, because now if I fetch, it shuffles the path back into the deck, and I didn't want it the first time. Kolaghan's Command. Tough beats. Had the Counterspell. That was the one card in their deck I was worried about. And yeah, they're just scooping. They know what's up. Cannot be defeated. Let's go. We're on the board.
The official BoshNRoll Island Ponder Keep shirt is available exclusively through Coalesce Apparel. This Magic Player-owned business is a staple of our community. They keep this channel on the air, and it's my pleasure to partner with them for this product. Coalesce is the best Magic apparel on the market. They have awesome new designs coming out all the time. Use code BoshNRoll to get 10% off your order, only at coalesceapparel.shop.
On the draw for round 4, I'm going to keep this in. It's got lands and spells, interacts. Opponent's chasing a multi 5. What does this mean? Oh, they revealed a companion as well. Jeggy. Whoa, multi 4 with a Jeggy? I suspect this is just bad luck. Like, there's some Breach decks that play Gigantha, but none of them go off that hard. Brain Freeze isn't legal in this format. Oh, we're memeing. All right. Leyline of the Guild Pact. Each non-land permanent you control is all colors. Lands you control are every basic land type. Okay, so this is some sort of Jeggy 5-color domain zoo. That's actually really cool if that's what's going on. I do have Lightning Bolt to kill this. Okay, well, they have one card in their hand. Even if they draw and go like Land Territorial Kavu, which I assume is their nut draw from here, I can beat that. Okay, I'm going to play Flooded Strand and pass. I can afford to take 3 from this Nakatl. I'm holding up Counterspell in case they do draw another spell, and then Teferi can bounce the Nakatl. Buy me another turn. Just working my way to Solitude. I don't think they could beat that card whenever it shows up. Hallowed Fountain tapped. I'll fetch a basic here, just to buy a little breathing room. Oh, this is interesting. If I bounce Leyline, then Gemstone Cavern doesn't tap for mana. I'm actually doing that, and Nakatl's a 1/1. Sick. I'll deal with this 1/1 another way. Brutal. That was awesome. First appearance of that big goofball leyline. I've seen a lot of action on social media about that one, especially its interaction with Jeggy, because even though it has all this insane mana values, there's still technically only one of each. And now we got them in the hard lock. All it takes is a zoo opponent to mull to 4. Ooh, they found a mountain. Now they can cast red spells. I think we're about done here. Oh, wow. Let's get all the hooks in. I'm going to put a counterspell under this other one. Good luck doing anything. This is a screenshot. Gotcha in the squeeze. Opponent said they've been playing since alpha and appreciate my 1995 combo. I think it's actually a 2003 combo, but yeah. Opponent's playing a Territorial Kavu, which I could counter or I could kill with Lightning Helix. I'd rather gain life against the Zoo deck. And do I even need Teferi here? Doesn't hurt. Teferi's in play. I'm going to plus Teferi. I could see a universe where I want to win with Solitude later. They've got a Tribal Flames for 3 that doesn't even kill Teferi, but I'm still going to counter it because they're not doing anything else. Got him! Okay, my sideboard here is Supreme Verdict, and Dress Down actually does kill Territorial Kavu. I feel like I don't need to do a lot. My main deck already kind of set up against this deck. Surge of Salvation can counter burn spells and let me win any combat versus a red creature. Cast in the Fire seems bad here. I think Cast in the Fire should actually be a sideboard card. I know SuperGov included it because of Bowmaster and being worried about that card specifically, but I think we have plenty of removal in the deck to not play that kind of fringe card. Okay, let's see if opponent mauls to Oblivion to find their silly leyline again. They maul to 6. I'm just going to keep. I don't have any removal, but I have card selection. I'll find something. And if they're mauling 2 leyline hands, like I don't even know if they're doing that intentionally, but if they are mauling to a hand with leyline, then their hand is actually -1. It's like you have perfect mana and full domain, but also your hand is 1 card less than it says it is. Okay, they didn't go for the leyline this time. Just a Temple Garden. Tapped. Love it. There are plains in my deck, but there are no mountains. I'm going to fetch a basic with Scalding Tarn. Scepter to Teferi. I actually don't want Scepter yet, and I don't want Teferi yet either. I'm going to bottom both. I'm just looking for some interaction. The turn 4 Teferi after the turn 3 Teferi. It might be too far behind by then if they do anything reasonable. Territorial Kavu starts as a 3/3. Ugh. Alright. Because my deck has Lightning Bolt and Path in it, I'm going to preordain before the fetch intentionally. Bottom, top, and then I am not worried about my life total compared to being able to cast my spells. I'm going to Path in the upkeep where they don't get the land. Or I actually should have done this in the draw step. That gives them a chance to draw their basic if they even have one. Yeah, I was 1 priority pass too early on that. But you do want to Path on their turn before they can, or so they can't untap with the land. There's at least a basic plains in this deck. Xander's Lounge gives them domain, and Scion of Draco will get bounced with Teferi, and then we'll figure something else out after that. I would like to fetch some lands out of my deck, but also I just have these basics I can play. Bounce that, and I continue ripping lands. All good, all good. Deck's full of good cards, we'll draw them eventually. There's not too many lands in this deck, by the way. There are 21, which is a perfectly responsible and respectful number for a modern control deck that's trying to hit its land drops. Okay, there's Scion and Nishoba Brawler and Breeding Pool. Lightning Bolt would be a great draw. Supreme Verdict might be better. All right, plus this, play a Scalding Tarn. I think I'm going to fetch shock a Steam Vent Cistern, and I hope they play a haste creature. And Splato. Shock and events. Goodbye, all of your creatures. 2 cards left in hand. Even if they're both Tribal Flames, I'm not dead on board. They can reach for Jeggy. Another Scion. And, oh, a card I have to read. Llanowar Green Widow. Reach Trample. Domain 7G. Return Llanowar Green Widow from your graveyard to the battlefield tapped. It gains if this permanent will leave the battlefield exiled instead of putting it anywhere. This ability costs 1 less for each land type you control. Okay. Okay, I'm going to play... Well, I should plus Teferi first. Then play the other Teferi. And I'm actually going to bounce the Green Widow, because Scion is cheaper and worse. It's a 4/4 flying. Bounce that. There's that Scepter again. Okay. I'm going to have to deluge into some answers soon. I hope they dedicate some ability or some effort to killing Teferi. If they just start going face, I'll be a little worried. This grants white creatures Vig, blue creatures hexproof, lifelink to black, first strike to red, trample to green. There's no haste in there, which is the ability I'm most scared of right now. 2 cards in hand, one of them's that spider. Okay, they're attacking Teferi. That's the best thing I could have asked for. You're out of here. Spider's back. I'm going to fetch a Hallowed Fountain in the end step. Drew Counterspell. A little late for that. I think I want to fetch a basic island and cast Memory Deluge right now, leaving up Jeskai. If I could find a Helix, that would be great. Path's good. Ooh. Well, Supreme Verdict's good next turn, but I am at 3 life. Supreme Verdict and... Is Deduce better than Lorien Revealed? I don't think so. Alright, Verdict and Lorien. I'm going to have to counter a burn spell, but I can Verdict. But the spider can come back. It doesn't say as a sorcery, I don't think. Yeah, I'm actually just dead to the spider if I don't find an answer to it. That's pretty cool. The spider tech. Wild Nicodle. Alright, yeah, dump out another creature. Alright, still hasn't put Jeggy in hand. Yeah, I'm actually just dead to this spider if they remember to activate it. Just gonna have to bet against, I guess. Pass the turn. And they didn't activate it. Okay. Yeah, they're saying in chat they knew they should have held back the Nicodle. Yeah, like, pacing in these aggro decks is really important. Like, when do you push, when do you hold back, and when you have 2 lethal threats in play, one of which can come out of the graveyard if you remember to do it, probably right to hold back. Okay, I'm going to Lorien Revealed. I gotta find an answer to this spider, because they won't forget it forever. There we go. Lightning Helix is a big answer to spider. Okay, you can remember your spider now. I'm still dead to Tribal Flames anyway. This is the turn where I need them not to throw a flurry of burn at me, or don't remember that spider can come back, or I just need some stuff to go right. Something's happening in the end step. They said in the chat, MC Hammer, you can't touch this, and then put spider into play. Okay. They said I can't counter it. Yes, I understand the interaction. Thank you. I can exile it forever with Lightning Helix and gain 3 life, though. Oh, I should have bolted that. Oh, that was so bad. Now I die. I could have held up Counterspell. I just got so excited about the Helix. Yeah, if I lose, it's my fault at this point. Oh, no. Fingers crossed. Don't punish, don't punish, don't punish. Scion of Draco. That doesn't kill me. It also doesn't not kill me. Well, I'm going to fetch, so it does kill me. But I think I need this land into play. I have another Lorien Revealed here. Deck full of Teferis. Double Bolt finishes it off. All right. Do I want to put Bolt under Isochron Scepter, or do I want Counterspell under Scepter? I think I want Counterspell under Scepter, and then I'll double Bolt Scion. Leyline Binding in response. Okay, that's fine. This basically just arrests the Leyline Binding. I'll just decline the imprint. No thank you. And then Lightning Bolt, Lightning Bolt. Okay, take that out. Now I got Counterspells up, and Deduce and Lorien Revealed plus Memory Deluge in the graveyard to try to pull out of this. Gigantha's still in exile, if they ever remember it. There's the Tribal Flames, gotta counter that. That's the scariest spell in their deck. And I'm not going to... Yes, I am going to Deduce. Flames is a sorcery. I'm okay tapping out a Counterspell here. Scepter! We're in there again. Oh, Scepter Helix. Is that better than Scepter Counter? It might be. You know I can't get away from it. Another Scepter. Oh, do they have another Binding? Deal. Yep, that's fine. I'm not even going to fight over it. I'll just keep the cards in my hand that are in my hand and enjoy my time against this Hellbent Zoo opponent. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Not safe to Lorien Revealed here. I'll just pass, and I can draw with Clue, and just need to find a Solitude or Teferi to win the game with. Leyline of the Guild Pact. Does this do anything? Permanents are all colors. Lands are retyped. No, it doesn't. All right, that's fine. End step, crack my Clue. Azorius Charm. I'll hold on to that. There's a Solitude. Feeling good now. Do I want a Lorien Revealed? I think I do. They're Hellbent. I got a Gridful interaction. Let's party. Plane of Plains. I'm going to deduce in the end step. Yeah, they clearly just don't remember that they have a companion. Surge of Salvation counters the next Tribal Flames. The Fairy. I can put Counterspell under Scepter now. Bounce one of the bindings. Put Counterspell. I could counter that on the way back down or just Surge it. They said, whoops, I had Yield on. Yeah, I have Teferi. It doesn't matter. I probably could have safely preordained here, but I think the Clue token... why? I may just have the spot where I don't want to take any risks. I don't know what risk I'm taking, but... Alright, there's this spider that I can't touch. The Brilliant Tech, MC Hammer. Can't counter it. It's good against discard decks too. But you know what it does lose to? Solitude. And then we have a real plan to win the game. The corner's been turned for a while now, but now I have a threat. Druin Island, in with Solitude, plus Teferi. Do I even cast spells here? I might as well preordain, I guess. It's not going to hurt me at this point. Bottom, Strand, top path. They're now explaining to me in the chat that this Leyline can pay for the Evoke Mythics. Yeah, I know, it's every color. I get it. I understand. Okay, end step, Clue token, activate. I think it is probably safe, though incorrect, to flash in my second Solitude just to get out of here faster. I'm tempted, I'm not going to lie. I do have 14 cards left in my deck. I have to be like slightly aware of that. Yeah, I am just going to push it with the Solitude. I don't care, I just want to be done. Decline the trigger, go to my turn, plus Teferi, gas up my bird land. Okay, they are dead on board, and I don't need to map token here. I'd rather just leave my mana up. I'm at 16, unlikely to be burned out anyway, plus Surge of Salvation, plus Counterspell under Isochron Scepter, plus Wall of Removal, plus Helix. They're now telling me, lucky I got land flooded, broski. They only run 21 lands. Yeah, me too, and I'm a control deck. You're a zoo deck. Maybe run fewer lands than that. I don't know. I'm not going to be salty. They're a friendly person. They're building on a budget. Okay. Leyline Binding. I'm just going to Surge this. Give all my stuff hexproof, including me. That comes in. No targets legal. Just sits there. Tribal Flames targeting yourself. Yep, go out like a boss. I appreciate it. Anything to get this match over. And they played Overgrown Tomb after bolting themselves. If they had played Tomb first, they could have killed themselves here, but you can't pay life you don't have. On to the final round.
We're a few rounds into the video. Thanks for sticking with me. Friendly reminder that if you're still here and having fun, smash that subscribe button. And if you want to play what I'm playing, you can use my affiliate link for TCG Player to support the channel while you shop for cards, and you can try any deck anytime with a cardhoarder.com loan account for Magic Online. All these links are in the video description below. Now back to the league.
On the play in the final round. Say the line, Bart. Lands and spells. Keep. Opponent says hi to everybody. It's the first game with the deck. Please be gentle. Well, I will be. I will be ruthless, but I'll be nice about it. Everyone say hi to Blade Magician. Oh, it's the mirror match. I'm going to fetch for a Hallowed Fountain in the end step. What modern decks actually play Hallowed Fountain? I mean, Blue-White Control is legal in the format, technically. Preordained Surge. I don't think I'm going to need Surge versus this Blooded Strand strategy. I'm just going to preordain for velocity here. I like to vary. Cool. Let's go. Pretty good start. Feel like I'm playing Legacy. Dual land preordain, dual land preordain. Bang. And they've got the new Surveil lands as well. The day that I'm recording this, I released Modern Rhinos on the channel last week. And I already have comments that are like, why aren't you playing the Surveil lands? Homie, it came out last night. In order to release videos every day of the week, I don't get to record tonight for tomorrow. Just letting you know. Yeah, Murders of Karlov Manor came out like yesterday afternoon at the time of this recording. Cryptic Coat, oh baby. Enters the battlefield, cloak the top card of your library, and attach this to it. Equipped creature gets +1/+1, can't be blocked. Cloaks are morphs with Ward 2, and if it's a creature, you can turn it up for its mana cost. So I guess it's Manifest with Ward 2, and you can bounce this thing. Wow, that's cool. Lots of cool stuff going on there. As much as I don't want to bounce a Stoneforge Mystic, I think it's right to get this Teferi in. Boing. Steam Vents. I'm mostly just treading water on my way up to these Solitudes because they're really good in this creature control matchup. I imagine they'll just cast the Cryptic Coat. It's 3/2, Ward 2, unblockable. And this is also a draw engine. This card's cool too. I'm adding this to my list of things to buy. Remember to use my TCG player link if you go. Order some cards. Okay, here it is, the Cryptic Coat. Let's see how this thing functions. First time I've ever seen this card, much less in play. Unblockable 3/2. It's funny because I can Azorius Charm this thing and put it right back where it came from. I don't think I want to path and ramp this deck. I could get lost. Oh no, this is Artifact, which is creature enchantment planeswalkers what Get Lost gets. Someday I'll learn what that card does. It is a 5-mana play to pick up and replay Cryptic Coat. Ward 2, okay. Fetch for a basic planes. Azorius Charm, this dummy. Pay the ward. I love that we have a Jeskai Pseudo Mirror here in the final round, though. This is great. They're fetching in response. I wonder if they're able to flip this creature and do something cool, because they can't cast spells here because of Teferi. Oh, it was a Teferi. Ew. All right, well. Yeah, anytime a face-down card leaves the battlefield, it's revealed. That's just the rules. Okay. They shuffled away the Teferi to get Kaldra and played another Stoneforge, oh baby. Well, I think I'm going to have to Solitude this Kaldra. Oh, another Cryptic Coat. They're going off. Their deck is awesome. This Cryptic Coat card I'm actually pretty excited about now that I'm aware it exists. I have to shock in Steam Vents, which I think will telegraph Solitude, but still, you know, what do you want me to do about it? It's the play that I have. Oh, this is an equipment, but it cannot equip. That's interesting. It only equips on ETB. Then you have to bounce it and replay it to do anything. Like, you can't just give a creature +1/+0 and unblockable. That is not text that is on this card. That's really interesting. Have they made equipments that don't have equip before? Okay, so they sniffed out the Solitude. Unlucky for them, I have 2, which means I can send one at a Stoneforge this turn. Hopefully throw the suspicion off of myself a little bit here, and then get them with the other Solitude next turn. They put in the other Cloak, which will generate another creature that can't be blocked. Pretty happy to find lands here, plus Teferi. Yeah, I'm just going to pass, I guess. There's the Kaldra. I can't Solitude plus Path because I only have 2 white among my lands. I think I'm just going to have to let Teferi go to 1. Backup Solitude. Delete the Germ token. If they have like a Teferi of their own to bounce Kaldra and reset it, or if they have like Otawara, that could become troublesome. Not being able to block the Cryptic Coat cards is powerful. Cycling Lore revealed. They can bounce and replay this Cryptic Coat with Stoneforge, all at instant speed. And every 4 mana puts another cloaked card into play. It doesn't need to hold the equipment to be alive like a Germ does. Or some negation, unlikely to be super helpful. Though I guess they probably have Planeswalkers in their deck. Okay, I'm going to attack with both Solitudes here. If they bounce the other Cryptic Coat, I will path Stoneforge Mystic in response. And this is the old Batterskull trick. What you want to do is activate Stoneforge Mystic, then in response, bounce the Cryptic Coat, so I can't kill it in response. And then I can... Oh, Force of Negation counters the coat. Interesting. All right. We're figuring it out. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. If they draw a land and go to equip... they said in the chat they forgot to put Stoneforge on the stack before bouncing. Yep, they know the trick. They just didn't use it. It matters, I promise. Well, I could get lost this Cloak, or I could just let Teferi die. Against an opponent with 8 cards in their hand, I don't really want any of this to happen, but alright. Teferi's dead. I think that, with the ward involved here, I have to make some decisions. I have 5 mana for removal plus counter, but ward is a powerful mechanic. And now their universe opens up. They might have their own Solitudes. They're just going to clean up with 6 mana. That's not suspicious at all. Discarded a Prismatic Ending. Oh, Cast in the Fire. That does deal with the Cryptic Coat, except that they could bounce it 3 times with the mana they have. So actually it doesn't. Okay, they're evoking a Solitude. pitching a Solitude. I'm going to let this resolve and then Surge of Salvation. Or was I supposed to Surge first? Because now if they are a Ephemerate deck, they get a good blowout here. I was supposed to Surge first. Counterspell, I was ready for that. Kind of ready for that anyway. As ready as I could be. Oof, alright. Well, they had multiple counterspells. That's fine. That's why they pitched instead of just cast. And I can get lost if they do Ephemerate. Yeah, okay. That's too much. Please don't have another Ephemerate. Okay. We got away with a little bit of that. And now suddenly, both of our resources are close to nothing. But they have this Cryptic Coat that can just pick up and bounce. They have map tokens. I am behind here because of these coats. They're mapping onto the Cloak, milled an Ephemerate. They're mapping again. Prismatic Ending. I suspect they'll mill that as well. Yep. They do have a 5/4 Ward 2 unblockable that they did not attack with because it can block. It just can't be blocked. Sheesh. Hardly seems fair. Who gave them that +2/+2? And they're picking up the Cloak, which I can't destroy because they just pick it up again in response. That card is so cool. I'm already brewing with it in my head. Yeah, you're back. And attacking with your 4/4 that I can block, but I'm not going to. I think this casts in the fire. I need to find a spot where I can kill the Cloak or exile Cauldra. Those are the uses for that here. Path to Exile is cool. Okay, if I path this little fella, that guarantees that Cauldra can be equipped next turn. And what's my plan after that? I could also just attack and offer a trade. I think that's what I should do. Try to trade with their 3/2. Then I can cast into the fire the Cloak, or Coat. It's Coat, right? Coat, Cloak, Coat. Cast in the fire the Coat when they try to bounce it here. And then I can path the Cloaked creature. Alright, we did it. And I can path the Cloaked creature if they equip Cauldra to it. I am behind on every resource. They have as many lands as me. They have a 4/4 in play. They have more goats. Did I know about that one? Is that the other one I knew about the whole time? Yeah, this card is unbeatable for a control deck. And what I need is Isochron Scepter, Lightning Helix. The same thing I always need. Well, there's half of it. They didn't pick up Coat this time. I think I got to deal with this 4/4. Even if it hurts, even if it gets them into Cauldra range. That's got to go. That was a Prismatic Ending. Ooh, failed to find. Alright, they're out of basics. Good news, everybody. Path to Exile is just exile target creature. I suspect they'll object to this, but I am going to cast it. Lorien revealed. Oh, it worked. What a miracle. Okay, pass the turn. Oh no. They have a Solitude in the end step. Do I just Helix that? If I Helix it, it's on their turn. I think I have to hold this Helix. Because if they do slam the land and equip Cauldra to Solitude, that's still interaction. The Ward 2 on the Cloak has that beat, though. They top bottom Preordain. Okay, Helix the Solitude. They could Ephemerate, they could Counterspell. All these things are mostly fine, I think. Ephemerate it is. They get to keep their Solitude. I don't take 3. Counterspell would be cool here. Another Lightning Helix. Never going to complain about that. All right, Teferi, stop this. Stop this nonsense. Subtlety. Ugh, that's so much worse than anything. All right, well, I'm going to put Teferi on top. I still think he's good. I have to Helix something. I think the Subtlety is more important to remove because if they have another Ephemerate or a way to buy back one of the ones in the graveyard, that could keep Teferi from ever showing back up. Force of Negation pitching Tidebinder. The tempo deck is real. 3, 6, 7, 8, 9. If they can equip Cauldra, they win for Xaxes here. Okay. I'm at 5. Preordain. Their own Teferi. Hate that. Have to deduce in response. They can bounce their Cryptic Coat, or they can bounce their Subtlety, because they know I'm going to try to cast a Teferi this turn. They bounce Cauldra. That's mostly the same as equipping it, except it brings its own creature. It doesn't take any pressure off the board, so good call. Okay, Teferi. It's on the stack. It resolves. I bounce Subtlety. I can't really beat any of them. Just gotta start somewhere, pick one. And I'm dead on board. Or I could still Clue Token and draw Lightning Helix. Not a Lightning Helix. Alright, GG. Yeah, absolutely buried by Cryptic Coat, a card I've never seen before. That was freaking sweet. Okay, what do I do here? They are a creature deck. Fighting over Cryptic Coats and Teferis is going to be important. Get Lost does not kill anything important. It kills their Teferis, but so does Lightning Bolt. Surge of Salvation. I don't think I want that. They are a Ephemerate deck, but I think I can live without it. And Teferi both bounces Isochron Scepter to reset it, and Isochron Scepter doesn't work with Teferi in play, so this is our first Teferi mirror. I'm going to shave the Scepter. I don't think I like Herx. I might like Dress Down. Dress Down turns off Ward for a turn. It stops nonsense from happening. The Cast in the Fire is actually great. I think I'm going to shave a Force of Negation. Okay, here we go again. This matchup feels really bad. On the play, Island Preordain. I have Lorien Revealed as an actual land too, so I would keep this hand without Lorien Revealed, just putting that out into the world, but I have that too, so really no risk here. Opponent's on 6. Preordain. Supreme Verdict. I want that later, and I do want Plains now. They've got a Surveil land. Kept the card. And I'm just going to pass. If they play turn 2 Stoneforge, I like dressing it down. And if they don't do anything, I'll just cycle Lorien Revealed for a Steam Vents. They got a Steam Vents of their own, showing me who's boss. Stoneforge, dress it down. Take a break, Stoneforge Mystic. You can chill. Okay, I could shove a Teferi here, but like we saw last game, I don't really want to bounce a Stoneforge. I still think shoving Teferi when their mana's not open is worth doing. I hate this, but I am going to do it. I'm out here using Dress Down to turn off Stoneforge and just putting it back in their hand. Okay, this is back. They went for Cauldra. That's good news for me. Holding Cast into the Fire, and they just surveilled a Subtlety away. Teferi got through before the Subtlety could kill me. Another Teferi. Cycle Lorien Revealed, or I can actually Preordain first here. No, I want to cycle first. All right. Cycle for Steam Vents. Cast Preordain. Land Supreme Verdict. Still want Supreme Verdict later. I'll take a land, though. And I'm just going to Helix the Stoneforge. I could wait to Cast in the Fire the Cauldra, or I could just, like, not let Cauldra be in play. We could do it like that. And I will force a Concealing Cloak here. Cryptic Coat. Pretty close. Just saying random sounds. Yeah. I think this card is too good, and it's worth 2 cards. And it is 2 cards, just if it resolves. Flooded Strand. Can fetch Basic Island if I need that. Okay, Solitude, Cast in the Fire, some lands, and a Planeswalker in play. If they come up with their own Teferi, my hand will look pretty bad. Shocked and Hallowed Fountain. 5 mana for something here. Just ramming in a Solitude. Gotta do what you gotta do. Teferi breaking parity in the Jeskai Mirror. What year is it? I get my other Steam Vents here, which I should have predicted I was going to do and played the Arid Mesa. Keep drawing Flooded Strands, though. Someday. They'll be useful. Arid Mesa, that can fetch Hallowed Fountain. Teferi can bounce Solitude for card advantage and another answer starting this turn. Sort of Feast and Famine. Okay, that can chill for a while. Nothing to hold that. Fountain tapped, go to my turn. Ooh, I could just send it on a Lorien Revealed. Oh, I can do that on their turn as well. Yeah, I'm just going to plus Teferi and hit my land drop. We got options because Teferi is busted. Tishana's Tidebinder, simply arriving as a creature. I'm going to fetch in response and see if I can come up with something for this. I'm not super worried about it. Like, I could just bounce it with Teferi or whatever. But if I could find a Helix or a Bolt, that's even better. Yeah, I'm going to save my Counterspell for a real thing. Bolt answers this just fine. Teferi answers this just fine. Okay, this is protection from black and green. Does not grant haste or anything. Yeah, I'm just going to minus Teferi on this. keep all my cards in my hand. I might even draw a Solitude. Or no, I can minus Teferi on Solitude, Solitude the Tidebinder. That is the same thing, except they don't get a Tidebinder. Play the long game in the Jeskai Mirror. And they scooped it to that. Writings on the wall. Okay, that was cool. The secret is Resolve Teferi. They said Teferi's a hell of a card in the chat. Agreed, I was just saying that. And my Teferi was so good that game. Maybe I do want Force of Negation to keep their stupid weapons out of play, their stupid coat, and also in case they have a Teferi. I'm going to shave a Deduce. Though, this is exactly the matchup where Deduce would be good. Maybe it's Path to Exile. Yeah, I'm going to shave Path. I have other answers that I'm happier to use. I don't really want to ramp my Jeskai control opponent. Bolt Preordained Scepter. Let's go. Both on 7. Positive record on the line. Jeskai Mirror. This is the best Magic. The best timeline. We're living in it right now. What's this 1-drop they have? Preordained. Alright, that's allowed. If they suddenly had like Esper Sentinel or something, I was going to lose my mind. That card sucks at control decks. Don't be fooled. Even mid-range decks like Stoneforge, Esper Sentinel just doesn't do it anymore. If it ever did. Okay, I can get my tap land into play now. Yeah, I'm not in a rush to preordain. I'll just play my tap land. I have Lightning Bolt for a Stoneforge if that's what they got. Stoneforge confirmed. Going for Cauldra. Steam Vents. Zap this. Hope they don't have Force of Negation. Cool. Preordain. Bottom these 2 lands. Don't need those. Found a Solitude. Okay, I mean, the coast is clear for them to shove a Teferi their own, and then we could just play a Teferi Mirror, where we both have Teferi in play, which is not good Magic. Okay, Stoneforge Mystic. I don't like this, because now the Cauldron's already in hand, this is going to be a coat, and Surveil land. Notice they surveilled after they search for the turn. Why would you look at a card, maybe you like it, and then have to shuffle it away to your Stoneforge? Good sequencing. I remain to be extremely concerned about the coats, but I don't have an immediate answer to Cauldra either. Counterspell might get a coat eventually, but we know they play at least 2 coats, so the Stoneforge could draw another coat, which draws more cards. We are not winning these exchanges, in case there was any doubt in anyone's mind. We're falling behind pretty fast here. Prismatic Ending, okay. Took out the Teferi. That turns on their Ephemerates, their Solitudes, their Subtleties. Though it does buy me a turn to Counterspell as well. Now I have to decide if I'm going to try to stuff Counterspell onto this Isochron Scepter right now. I think I am. Isochron Scepter. Here's my value engine. If I'm going to keep up with this stupid coat, it's going to be with infinite Counterspells. Bang. Oh, they played Otawara rather than Otawaring my Isochron Scepter. I feel blessed that that happened. Though, if they follow up with a Teferi here, that's really bad, so I have to let the Stoneforge resolve even through my Counterspell, and now they don't have to respect that anymore. Maybe that wasn't a good play. And there's no reason for them to do anything now they have me on the back foot. I'd love a Lightning Bolt. I'd even take a Path to Exile that I boarded out. Dress Down. Okay, I can Dress Down in the end step, and that buys me some time to breathe versus the Stoneforge. End step, Dress Down. This will stay in play for their turn, which means Stoneforge can't activate for a cycle. On another Teferi. That's good news. I'm going to need that. Cycling Lorien revealed. Shocked and Hallowed Fountain, representing Subtlety. I'm going to fetch before the Dress Down dies, just in case they have Tidebinder. And then Dress Down dies. Another Counterspell. Okay. Teferi, it's time for you to do something. Should I hold Teferi, actually? I can't let this Stoneforge stay in play forever, but I'm also not in a good spot to fight it. They have sort of Feast and Famine in their hand on top of all this other shit, though. Yeah, I actually have to try to do something here. Evoking a Subtlety. Well, I'm going to use a Counterspell from the Isochron Scepter on this. Oh, brutal. All right, well, they did have Tidebinder after all. Okay. The new is defeating the old handily, and I'm about to get smooshed with a Cauldron in the end step, untap, sort of Feast and Famine, connect, all your mana's open. This is bad news, folks. Feast and Famine's in. Here comes Cauldra. Here comes Equip. Me without a Path to Exile. I did board one out. I deserve this. Yep, all your mana's open. 2 cards in hand. One of them's the Coat. Might even be in play starting next turn. I think I have to discard Memory Deluge. Oh, they didn't play the Coat, which means there's hope for this Counterspell in my hand. Okay, Teferi Time Raveler. Okay, they've got a Solitude over the top. All of this pushes damage. That was a nice big tempo turn that they found. What do I need to do here? I have to counter this. Draw Path to Exile when I bounce the Cauldra Germ. Or any white card, actually. Alright, bounce the Germ and any white card? Any white card. Deduce! That's not a white card! GG's opponent. Really cool deck. Really well, like, structurally set up for this matchup, where I have Isochron Scepter, which is bad against Teferi and Tishana's Tidebinder, and they have the Creepy Coat, whatever that card's called. I'm sure I'll learn the name of that thing, because it's really cool, and it's the type of Magic I would like to play. Okay, this deck, we fell a little short of a positive record. Isochron Scepter is a little riskier than it was last time I played this deck, because Tishana's Tidebinder, just turning it off forever, is a main deck card in a lot of modern decks these days. That's just something we didn't have to get done with before. I don't think Deduce was better than, like, Azorius Charm. I think 2 is probably the right number of Scepter. Deduce was a new card that was worth trying, but I think the utility of Azorius Charm plus being white that pitches to Solitude are both upsides on that. Cast in the Fire, I think, should be a sideboard card. And I actually really didn't like Get Lost. Every time we cast this, the map tokens were a huge beating. Like, we're not maxed out on Lightning Helix or Counterspell yet. There's still room for those. We could play a 4th Solitude in this spot. I know you can't imprint Solitude in Isochron Scepter, but I think just maxing out on the good cards. Like, Solitude is probably the most busted card in this deck. And just playing 4 of those sounds like it makes sense. I think I also want another big Teferi, because we were falling behind decks that could set up a draw engine, where our engine is Isochron Scepter, which is fine. It did do cool stuff in this league, but also it's not something like a Planeswalker that you can just put into play and immediately start drawing cards off of. You need a second spell in your hand, and then the Scepter needs to survive the imprint trigger, and then the spell needs to tap and activate. Like, it takes some setup, where I think just like Teferi, maybe even like Wandering Emperor, Jace the Mind Sculptor, just something else that shows up and immediately gets to work, rather than relying on Scepter to catch up. Those are my notes for the deck after playing it. It's still a lot of fun. I love this kind of Magic. Super intrigued by that Stoneforge Mystic deck we just played against. More Jeskai, maybe in the future. Stay tuned. Super Gub, thank you for sharing your deck. Everybody, thanks for watching. Like, comment, subscribe, check out the Patreon. I'll see you next time.